Hey YouTube, Rook here from Rook Geek Goodness, my little channel on the interweb for all things geeky and cool. And this video, guys, is part 2 of my West Palm Beach Revolution Comic Con 2018. I'll be talking about both the convention itself and my haul videos. You see some things across my table here, so I want to talk about that stuff in depth shortly. If you did see part 1, I'll put a link above my head here. Definitely click that link first to see what I actually did in that video. I basically walked the showroom floor. I took cosplay. I picked some vendors that I actually showcased some stuff in the actual booths themselves. I wanted you guys to have a feeling of what it felt like out of my eyes to walk through the show floor. I didn't want me to take pictures of myself, flash the camera to me, then flash it back to the show floor. I wanted to have a different experience, very similar to my SuperCon video I did for last year. So let's talk about Revolution Comic Con 2018. A little preamble before there. Comic-Con Revolution 2018 is a very small convention. I mentioned it in part 1 video. It was really, really small. It took place in one day. I'd never been to a Comic-Con before that only participated in one-day events. And I'm very surprised about that. Usually they don't do that. Usually they're multiple days. This took place last weekend as far as recording this video, February 24th, 2018. And I think, all in all, it was a very successful con. It was the very first con they've ever done, at least in this format for the West Palm Beach Convention Center itself. I'm not sure if they had other cons there, but I know at least at this one, for Revolution Con, it was the very first one, at least in the South Florida area. I think it's a very good attempt at their first convention. One thing that was very, very odd, they had some vendors there. I'd say maybe going on the high number, I would say maybe 8 to 10 vendors, and they had a ton of people in Artist Alley. And Artist Alley I liked a lot there because not only did you have, let's say, local artists doing stuff, you had pencilers there from, let's say, local talent, you had established artists like Greg Land, a very renowned and very prolific Marvel artist. He did stuff in cross-gen back in the early 2000s. I believe he did maybe some work in DC, but I could be wrong there. A really well-known, well-established artist. So he was actually at this show, which I was very, very surprised about. Ming Chen from the Comic Book Man from AMC. It comes on, I believe, after Walking Dead. A very well-known show as well. Basically, it was spun off because of Kevin Smith. Shout out to Kevin Smith. Hope he gets well. He had a recent heart attack a few days ago as far as recording this video goes. So I mean, he's part of that group, and it was really cool talking to him a little bit as well. But the show itself was sort of small, and I think it was okay. I think it was a very good first step, as I mentioned before. I think it's going to grow. I think they're going to do more with that show. I really enjoyed it. One of the things I thought was a very cool idea is, and even the larger shows should take some cues from this show. The way they did their panels, I liked it a lot, because if you walked right outside the convention and made a, let's say, a turn to the right out of the doors, like literally 20 feet down, you had at least 5 rooms segmented off with the actual posting of all the schedules, and you didn't have to walk very far to get to a room. And I liked that a lot. It was right by the convention hall. I think it was a very, very good idea from the dealer room. I think it was really, really good. I think a lot of the bigger size conventions, let's say MegaCon, SuperCon, even things like San Diego Comic-Con, should take a note from this smaller convention, because you can get to panel really easily, and it didn't mislead you. You didn't have to go like, okay, my panel's at this room here. I had to walk halfway through the convention center to get to the actual next panel. It didn't do that. I didn't attend any panels. None of them were really what I really wanted. There was one panel which was how to grow up a YouTube channel, but it was very, very late in the day. I got there around, I would say, 9 o'clock, and I left there around 3. So I was there for about 6 hours or so. There was a lot going on there. They even had an escape room. I didn't shoot any video of the escape room only because it was very, very loud, and it really would have been good video, in my honest opinion. I don't think it really would have come out really good. So let's talk about, that's what I think about the actual convention center itself. So let's actually move on to my haul, the stuff you see on my table here. Let's actually get into it. First things first, I picked up 3 Funko Pops, as you can see here. I went to one particular booth to get all 3 of these. I got a deal on all of them here. So let's actually look at what I picked up. The very first one here was the Target exclusive Flocked Bugs Bunny. So I wanted this pop when it came out several weeks ago. I believe it's part of the February deal they had. I was not able to snag this guy. I have the normal version of Bugs, but I wasn't able to get this one. And I'm very, very happy to get him added to my Looney Tunes collection, and he looks great. The head does move. It is articulated. So I'm very surprised about that. There was some scuffs on the actual fur here, but that was okay. I think all in all, it's a really cool looking pop. It was identical to the normal version of the Bugs Bunny release, just in a flocked version. And this was pop number 307 of the Looney Tunes series. So I'm really happy to get this guy in my collection. Again, I was a big, massive fan of Looney Tunes, so I'm really happy to get this guy added into my collection. So number 307 of the pop animation line for that guy. So very, very happy. Next one here was very near and dear to my heart. One of the first movies I saw with my girlfriend, one of our dating movies, was Despicable Me 3, and we were never able to get this pop because we could never find the damn thing. It was the Kohl's exclusive Fluffy. This also is a flocked pop. This is number 420 out of the Pop Movies wave, and I really wanted to get my hands on this one for a while. I had no luck locating it at Kohl's. They never had it in stock. This one also is articulated. Again, it looks just like the little Fluffy that was a normal version of this one, just a flocked version. No issues with this one. There's a little scuff, I take that back, a little scuff on the nose here, but that's okay, no real issues. I'm probably going to keep him in box because he is flocked, and these can actually get dirty really, really quickly because of the flocked material. I want to try to keep it as nice as I possibly can. Usually anything flocked I usually try to keep it in package. So those two right there. Last one is a newer pop that just came out, I would say maybe several weeks ago, which is the Contest of Champions Pop Games number 299 Hot Topic exclusive Civil Warrior pop. This is the different paint variant compared to the normal version. I'll put a picture up over here if you want to see the normal version, which is basically on this packaging that you see here, but it's a different paint scheme, and this one glows in the dark. So I was really happy to get my hands on this one here. I think it looks really, really good. I think Contest of Champions, if I remember correctly, is both a Marvel comic and a mobile game. I believe it's a mobile game as well. Again, bobblehead, not fan of bobbleheads, but I think he looks so cool. This type of aesthetics and the paint, the way he shines here, he's very, very glossy, very, very shimmery as far as the effect that it has on it. He is holding the shield here. I do like how it looks. I think it looks really, really cool. I haven't tried the glow-in-the-dark feature yet, so I don't know how well it's going to glow. I'm assuming the shield will glow, probably the eyes will glow, and probably the chest will glow. I assume. I have not yet tried it out yet. As far as me recording this video, I didn't really check the actual glow-in-the-dark feature, but I assume it would probably glow very similar to all other Funko Pops, maybe 5-6 seconds, I'm guessing. Again, I'm not a big fan of the bobbleheads. You guys know me well enough by now. I hate bobbleheads. I think because of licensing, I do despise the bobblehead effect because it can really mess up the springs in it. So these are the three guys I got here. I'll kind of put them on this side right here so you can kind of see what I got right there. Next, I moved over to a booth that was really, really cool deal. They had a back wall in place with all sorts of toys on pegs, very cheap toys, mind you, very good toys, but very cheap. In the very front of the booth, it was really opened. It was like maybe I would say at least 20 feet by 20 feet long show space. In the front, they had literally, I would say, 8 to 10 totes overflowing with toys. It was 3 for $10. They had a really, really good deal there. On the side, they had DVDs. Actually, in this case, Blu-rays. So I picked up some Blu-rays, 3 for $10. First one, I'm a big Nick Cage fan. I love me some Nick Cage, but I've never seen Con Air. I've never seen this movie. I intend to see this one with my girlfriend because she's a big Nick Cage fan. She saw this one. I did not. Next one we picked up was Pacific Rim. I've seen this, she hasn't. And with the new Pacific Rim sequel coming out shortly, I think this is a great movie. I definitely dig this film. I really like it. The kaiju, the Jaegers fighting, you know, big monsters, big robots. Really, really cool sort of movie. Definitely recommend Pacific Rim. For anyone who's not yet seen it, definitely take a look at it. And something kind of near and dear to my heart. I saw this movie back in the 80s when I was growing up. I loved it. I never owned an actual VHS copy, DVD, or Blu-ray. I had to pick it up. It's the old school Last Starfighter. I actually loved this movie growing up as a kid. My girlfriend has never yet seen this movie. It is very campy, very corny. Again, this was in the mid-80s with basically revolutionary CGI, computer-generated effects. They never did effects like this in a movie next to it. Maybe Tron. This was a huge advancement in digital, I would say digital computer imagery, because they never did something like this before. I love this movie. Okay, and last but not least, let's move on to this last piece here. I'll move this right kind of in the front here. Kind of put that right there. Last but not least, let's talk about artwork. I'm a big fan of supporting local artists. I like getting the large prints. I've talked about in other videos before. I'm actually having a collection of artwork now. I picked up a big portfolio, so I'm going to be storing artwork in. If I can put it on my wall. If I don't like a picture, I can take it down and put a new piece of art up. So I do like the art prints here. Usually you can get a really good deal. If you're not, let's say, Greg Land, who charges, $20 a print. He's a well-established, very well-known artist for Marvel, and I like supporting the local talent. I like doing stuff with them. So let's actually get into some of this artwork here. First one is this Bugs Bunny print I got here of him, kind of jumping. You see him over here in a phone booth. He kind of whirls around. He comes out in a little uniform with this USA flag behind it. I believe this was done by Mark. Keister. He's the guy who did Secret City back in the old PBS days back in the 80s. He actually was there with these prints. I was dumbfounded. I saw Secret City as a kid. I was like in shock of this guy. He looked just like he did before, just older with gray hair. But I was like, wow, I can't believe he did Secret City. So I was very, very happy to get this print from him. At his booth also, not at his booth, I got something else here. This is, we had to get Daenerys with her dragons. I thought this was a really, really cool print to get. I love this print here. She's kind of when the dragons were maturing in Game of Thrones. I think this was a really cool print. Again, I love supporting local artists. This is the one from Mark here. This is one of his Mark Kistler's, which was Joker and Harley with some kitty cats. I think this is a really, really cool print. I don't have a print yet of both Joker and Harley. I have a Joker print, but I don't have a Joker and Harley, so I wanted to get this print. I thought that was a really cool print to get. Moving on, I thought this was really, really cool as well. The Appetite for Destruction, I believe it was called, which was a Guns N' Roses cover. This guy here modified it to be the Constructicons and Devastator. I think this is a really, really cool print. I had to get this print. I looked at it, I was like, oh my God, that's awesome. That is an awesome, awesome print. I love that print. It was done by, the guy's name was Rob Rep, who did this one here. This one, I guess, it was also by Rob Rett, with a bunch of iconic heroes breaking out of the TARDIS from Doctor Who. I'm not a big Doctor Who fan, but I saw this print. I was like, that's a really cool print. I like that print. So I decided to pick that one up as well. He had a deal going 3 for $20 for all these prints. This is one of the ones I liked as well. He did one, again, Rob Rep again. He did all the Sith main characters. Of course, you got Kylo Ren here, the Emperor, Maul, and Vader all in one piece. I think this was a really cool design. Had to get me this print here. That will look really cool on a wall. These next two prints here are really cool because I think they're companion pieces. I'm going to put basically in a picture-in-picture video here as I talk through this, because this is an alien sort of chromed out with a lot of stuff going on in the background, as this video will see as it pans through. There's a lot of Easter eggs in this artwork, and the more I looked at this artwork, the more stuff I discovered. I mean, you see a shuttlecraft he's on, you see Green Lantern's power battery, you have face huggers, you have R2-D2 coming out of a face hugger, you have the Venom suit, you have Boba Fett's backpack, you have an X-Wing pilot here, you have Groot, you have all these cool, you have the TARDIS, you have all these cool sci-fi elements as Easter eggs buried inside this thing. Like, the Easter eggs more like, I would say more like a scavenger hunt. That's what it feels like to me with this piece, and I absolutely love that alien piece. Moving on to the companion piece, I think this was basically even better. I saw this one first, I'm like, I gotta get this one. Again, I'll speak over the commentary here as I zoom in on this actual piece of artwork by, again, Rob Rep, I believe it was. Rob Rep did this one as well. This is Predator with all these elements littered throughout the entire artwork. Another scavenger hunt, so to speak. You have, you know, Leatherhead from the Turtles, you have Leonardo, you have a TARDIS, you got Ant-Man, you have Aquaman, you have Zartan, Black Panther, an alien in the background, Luke Skywalker's X-Wing, you have AT-ATs, you have the Rocket Raccoon, Swamp Thing, Shrapnel, a Borg, he ripped the head off the Borg. I think this thing looks amazing. I absolutely love this artwork. I think both those pieces would go up next to one another on a wall. That's what I personally think. I think these are really cool pieces of artwork. Now let's talk about, they had a guest there. Probably some of the big people were Ming Chen from, like I said, Comic Book Man, but Ron Mars was there as well. I'm a big Ron Mars fan, mainly because he created my Green Lantern. He created Kyle Rayner back in the 90s. When I got into Green Lantern, he was there signing, and he signed for me Green Lantern number 51, which was right after the big Emerald Twilight 3-part special where they shook up the book. And this was basically Kyle Rayner's first real adventure after issue number 50, when he was given the ring by Ganthet. I had Ron Mars sign it. It's right down in the corner here. He did legitimately sign it. In part 1 video, you saw me take a real quick shot of Ron Mars. I spoke to him for about, I would say, 10 minutes or so. We talked about Green Lantern a little bit. We talked about CrossGen, which was a company that failed, unfortunately, in the early 2000s. They grew really quickly, very, very fast. I mean, you had Ron Mars there. You had Chuck Dixon there. You had Greg Land there. You had a lot of these well-established artists and writers in a local studio that would go off one another. And it was in, I think, Orlando. I think it was based in either Orlando or Tampa. I think it was in Tampa is where the studio was located. It was a really cool set of books they put out for CrossGen Comics. I think it was a really cool set of books. Unfortunately, it met its demise. It grew too fast, too quickly, and it was actually putting, you know, it gave comic book companies a run for their money. I mean, it wasn't really hurting Marvel, it wasn't really hurting DC, but let's say Valiant, it was really giving Valiant a run for its money back in the 90s, or late 90s, early 2000s. So I think it was a very, very good set of books. If you've never taken taking a look at CrossGen, take a look at CrossGen Comics. Last thing I want to talk about here, which is what the thumbnail was for this particular video, is I met a particular artist. Big shout out to him. His business card is here. Javier Lugo. Him and I are going to be working on some projects in the near future. I met up with him. Very, very cool guy. Very, very cool artist. He is a penciler. He is an art director for Cornerstone Creative Studios. Big shout out to Javier Lugo. But one thing he did for me is I paid him a little bit of money, and he did a pencil and ink sketch of Kyle Rayner, which is his signature right here. I did see Ron Mars was there, so as you notice right over here, Ron signed it for me as well. So I'm very, very happy to get both Javier to sign it and Ron Mars to sign as well. This will be a framed piece on my wall. Absolutely, absolutely. Again, big shout out to Javier Lugo for giving me this artwork and Ron Mars for signing it for me. I was very, very happy. I was glowing for the entire day because I got him to do a Kyle for me in the traditional crab mask that we know from his original outfit. I love the look from him back in this original design. This is how I remember my Kyle Rayner, my Green Lantern. So that's basically my haul video for RevolutionCon 2018. I hope you liked this video. Definitely click that like button. Always click subscribe. I haven't talked about it in a while, but here's my P.O. Box. Definitely if you want to hit me up for Q&A or send anything that you want me to review, I'd love to do it going forward. And last but not least, you can click Windows over here to watch more of my videos. Take care, guys. I'll see you next video, and bye-bye.